Yeah, so my name is Stephen Christopher. I'm the founder of WIT Digital. We do digital marketing for home service companies, and I do some business coaching and consulting. And just ultimately, I've kind of been through all of the ups and downs of business. I've had a business that failed. I owned a mortgage company until 2008, crashed and burned, learned how to be unsuccessful. But probably some of the best business lessons I ever learned. And then took out of that marketing, learned marketing, and just kind of said, how can I do this as a business? And that's how I got into digital.
Wow, cool, thanks.
Kind of just gone from there. And for 10 years, I read all the books on personal development and professional development and how to grow a business and, Tony Robbins and this, and kind of realized that business is supposed to be fun and relatively easy, or at least relatively simple. And so many people overcomplicate it. And so I've dedicated the last 3-5 years trying to help other business owners not be so stressed.
Yeah, no kidding. It's a huge job.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm Karl Frank with A&I Wealth Management. We work with a small number of successful families. We help them grow and protect their investments and choose how they want to be taxed. So we've got a nice little firm here in Lone Tree, and we're having a great experience. So I'm really interested actually in learning more about WIT. So you founded the firm like a few years ago?
2014.
2014. Okay, well that's 10 years. So that's more than a few.
2009 was, so on the heels of the mortgage company was my first digital marketing agency.
Yeah.
Did it with a partner. I quickly realized that we had two different opinions about what you do when you start to become successful.
Okay.
We won fastest growing company 2 years in a row for Denver Business Journal. And his view was we do less. Mine was we do more. We take advantage of it. We grow. We have fun, and so we parted ways. I don't know if you've ever had not so good partnerships, but
that could be rough.
Yeah, it was annoying. So, but split
really
ways,
tough.
sold to him, started WIT the day after, and then that was 2014.
And that was 14.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And so, what do you guys specialize in? What do you do?
So, digital marketing, search engine optimization, SEO. Basically, how do we prove to Google that you're more relevant than your competitors when somebody searches for what you do?
Yeah,
that's what we do. And so we get you higher in search engines so that you get more leads, more business, and just more recognition when people are searching for that really product or service. And we just kind of found the niche of home service. So large plumbing, HVAC, electrical, that's our niche. That's primarily who we help.
Great. So home service type companies, people that take care of my home.
Yep.
Even like a lawn gardener type or a lawnmower.
Yeah.
Electricians.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you fall into these weird niches and it just becomes something bigger.
Right. So you focus on those business owners, and they'll pay you to help their search engine results be better.
Yep. Got it.
What's working? How does it? What's the best way to do that?
I mean, there's a lot of stuff we could go into as far as technicalities to do it, but the general gist of it is, Google's job is to show the best result, right? To its customer, which is the end user. And our job is to prove that our clients' websites are the most relevant for those terms. And we do it in hundreds of different ways, writing content, doing backlinks, et cetera, et cetera. But really, we're just proving to Google that our client is more relevant than the competition and deserves to show up higher when that customer searches.
Is it more credibility? Is that a good word?
Yeah, credibility would be good. And credibility is in different ways. I mean, it could be just how many Google reviews do you have? What are people saying about you online? All the way to just what is the content on your website? If you're a plumbing company in Denver, you need to have content on your site that says we are the best plumbing company in Denver.
That demonstrates your expertise.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly.
Wow, holy cow. So, I mean, that's a hard thing to do, I think, especially for smaller companies to compete with bigger companies that have big budgets, I would imagine.
Very much so. And, I don't know how much you follow that industry, but private equity just had a huge sweep the last probably 5 years.
Really?
I mean, they bought, I don't know what percentage, but a very large percentage of the market for private equity coming into an industry.
Oh, my goodness.
And so now it is it has it's created this big gap. You have all of this money and all of these service companies that got purchased, and now they could afford a lot for marketing. And then you have the people that didn't sell, and those are the ones that's a little harder now, because now it's costing a third, half more than it used to compete against that private equity money.
In a Google search type environment, the marketing, there's just deeper pockets. So,
exactly.
The prices went up for all the little guys.
Yeah. Now we're finding, though, with the economy the way it is now, private equity is kind of pulling back. These giant marketing budgets are changing, and you have these guys that were doing roll-ups, and we're seeing the group that's finally going to get stuck holding the group of companies, and they're like, okay, slash everything, and let's save money, let's make it look good on the books. And so there's a really interesting opportunity in that space right now for the smaller guy that does really good service, cares about the customer, cares about culture, cares about the team. You're having employees jump ship from the big PE companies that want lifestyle and don't want to work 7 days a week. And,
for sure.
So it's, you know how it is. It's always like this.
Yeah, there's ebb and flow, right? Yeah. I imagine when PE came in, they probably raised prices too. I mean, imagine that the end user is probably paying a little bit more for the same service that they had before the PE company bought them. Yeah. Yeah. So is that an opportunity for the small guys too to raise their prices just to compete? Maybe they can get a little bit more margin?
Yeah, they can. They've been raising prices a little bit. You're right. That's actually really smart to pick up on that.
Might as well, right?
And so they are doing that. And, there's a lot of them that are freaked out about just what's happening. But overall, there's a lot of good opportunity for that kind of middle small person that really cares, really wants to have a home service company and wants to do it right and treat their employees right.
Man, from my point of view, it seems like there's a huge need for new plumbers, new electricians, new tradespeople. Am I crazy?
It's a big issue right now. I mean, a lot of we're at this point where the really good group is, late 40s, 50s. Yeah. And there was this whole segment in the middle where people weren't going into the trades. I mean, I'm mid 40s, and my generation was pushed towards get good grades, go to college, get a good job, move up to management, and then eventually retire.
It's like sold a bill of goods.
Yeah, exactly. And so nobody went into the trades. And I mean, we have clients where plumbers easily make 100, 120, 130 grand a year.
Be a six-figure job. You don't have to screw around with college.
Yeah.
And no student loans or very small student debt, right? You're paying for a voc ed school.
Yeah. And a lot of the big service companies will actually pay. They have their own technical schools that they've created as feeders into the business.
Right. So you can start out in business, get all that from a big company, turn around, form your own business if you're really unhappy with the big corp, I suppose. Seems like a huge opportunity to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got kids. My youngest is a senior in high school, and the two older ones went to college and both graduated. They're doing great. But the younger one, I hope he graduates, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm giving him a hard time. He's actually a brilliant kid, but I don't know. You never know if they're going to be, if college is right for them. And, so it sounds like, you're a few years younger than I am. I'm in my 50s, but when we were growing up, it was go to college, go to an Ivy League, right? You get the best education, the best opportunities. It doesn't seem like that anymore. With student loans so big, cost of college so high, right? It's a huge opportunity.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I think the bigger picture that I see in the world is teaching our younger generation how to make decisions.
Yeah, right.
How to find out what you actually enjoy, getting encouragement from your parents and your teachers and all of that, of find something that you enjoy and take that step. And then that'll probably lead to 3 other things. I mean, how do I graduate college with a finance and a business degree and a minor in international economics and end up with a marketing agency that works for plumbers? Like,
Steven, I don't know, right? We're all figuring it out. I mean, it's so true. It's a lesson for life, right? Holy cow. I don't know. I mean, everybody's kind of figuring it out. We're going, just personally in my own life, we're, sending the kid off. We're going to be empty nesters. What's the next stage?
Yeah.
I mean, I hope it's a stage. I mean, I was talking to one of my clients on the phone today, and all 3 kids are out of college. All 3 kids moved back in with dad over the summer.
Wow.
This is the last time, he said. We can't do this again. We had 3 months of pure, no kid living at home, but all three had to come home for the summer for whatever reason.
Yeah.
All three stages of life. One's saving for the marriage, and the other one's got one more summer before they go to grad school, but they're going to grad school, so they're broke. And the third one is in between semesters at college, and all three are going to be home with them again, just like they're in high school all over again. Right?
Yeah, no, get out of my house.
Get out, get out. We had a taste of freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Well, there's an interesting, and it happens in business just as much as personal. Like, I'm sure for you and your wife, you'll go through it of what's our identity without the kids, and
that's
being
right.
intentional to find that and have fun with it and enjoy it, and not think that there's a piece missing. But now it's, hey, we're free. We can do whatever we want and have fun, and rekindle maybe parts of the relationship that kind of got given to the kids along the way.
It's amazing. So, and the other thing that I think is really interesting about that young generation is technology. So they just grew up with it. Like, they don't know any world without, cell phones, iPhones, right? Social media. Holy cow, right? I grew up and went to college without a computer.
Yeah.
That's weird, right? And then, let alone having everything at your fingertips and scrolling through it in a nanosecond. I think that's going to totally change service industries. Am I crazy about that?
Yeah. No. I mean, it already has. Everybody goes to their phone to get whatever it is that they want.
So they're finding a plumber on the iPhone, using their smartphone.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember what year it was. It was probably 2016, 2017, when kind of officially search volume on mobile devices bypassed desktop. I remember when we crossed the 50% threshold, where more than 50% of searches happened on a phone as opposed to a desktop.
Wow.
And that was, I don't know, whatever that was,
Long
6-7
ago.
years ago now. Now it's just ridiculous. I mean, some of our clients are 90% of their traffic comes from a mobile device.
From a phone.
And how many people have computers? Maybe like in some really highly regulated industries, you guys obviously have sensitive data and stuff, but for the most part, companies almost don't even need desktops anymore. Like,
I know.
everything's in the cloud. Everything is, it's nuts.
Yeah, we actually transitioned here to what seems like 1980s technology, where everything's on a server in the cloud, and we're using the effectively dumb terminals in our office. It's actually more secure. You can walk out with one of our devices and you couldn't do anything with it, so you wouldn't steal any client data, and everything's encrypted. And
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's really secure. I think it's really exciting. In Colorado, if I'm not mistaken, there was a really good set of companies that started here in the service industry. Am I wrong about that? Some tech companies that are focused on service industry.
There could be. I don't know. Not off the top of my head.
I was thinking maybe Angie or some of those other places.
Probably.
I thought started here in Colorado. Maybe ServiceNow. I don't know.
It would not surprise me. I mean, and those are all bad words in the service industry.
Are they?
Like, oh yeah,
Tell me why.
Most clients cannot stand those because I think they started out with good intentions, but they became a PE-owned company,
industry. Okay.
And what typically happens, it's all about the numbers, it's all about the bottom line,
right?
And they sell the leads multiple times, they sell them in different stages. They're not necessarily completely open about how they do it.
Is that right?
So somebody goes to a site like that, puts in their information, they get phone calls from 17 people and within 60 seconds.
Terrible experience.
And it's whoever bugs them the most, and so it's not a great experience anymore.
It's a terrible experience.
So yeah, I don't know. That's why we push our clients to focus on their brand.
Yeah.
Grow your brand. Rely on the other marketing sources, Angie's, Home Advisor, Google, SEO, et cetera, et cetera. Rely on those as a source, but not as your sole source. Build a brand that is your name, your brand, and that's how you grow.
And your reputation.
Yeah, exactly. Don't rely on a third party to be your lead generator.
That's kind of
because what if they change? What if they double the cost? What if private equity buys up? In Utah, private equity bought 18 of the biggest home service company players, and we had a client that ended up getting bought, but didn't get bought in that first round. And they went from spending $70,000 a month in Google Ads to over $200,000 a month for the same thing.
That's crazy.
Because all the money pumped it in, and the bids were just that much more expensive.
That's nuts. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, holy cow! For a
It's
small
crazy.
business, that's a big dollar item.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see where, and I would imagine if it's really, I mean, if I'm an end user trying to, a homeowner trying to get somebody to do some repair, and I get 17 calls, like you said, or 17 texts, or whatever it is, bunch of emails, I'm not going to ever go back to that
Yeah.
list selling website that advertises on all the places.
Yeah, and it hurts the brand reputation of those companies that they sold to.
Yeah, right.
Because now it's
I'm affiliated with
you're annoying. You're
cold
you're
caller.
annoying. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
a nuisance, and you didn't do anything knowingly to become that.
Right. Yeah, it wasn't your fault.
Yeah.
You just wanted to compete and get some new business.
Yep.
Yeah, I can totally see that. That would really not be pleasant at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had that experience with mortgages, actually. Right?
Yep,
You were in the
same
mortgage
thing.
industry for a few years, right? And so they buy the leads, and then all of a sudden the mortgage person is calling you forever.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Go onto a car website, and I haven't been shopping for a car for years, but I'm still on their list serve. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Carl, we got a new car in for you today.
Yeah,
What are you
aren't
talking
you
about?
excited? I'm not
Yeah.
interested in that car.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that never dies.
You bought a fish tank instead of the car.
I did. I really love the fish tank. They're
That's
much more
awesome.
rewarding. They're a lot quieter.
Yeah. Much more relaxing too.
Yeah, it's a wow.
Yeah.
Car is like, whatever it is, man. It gets me where I need to be.
Yeah. That's awesome.
It's true, though.
How much of, I would guess, if you're doing family
Yeah.
wealth,
Yeah.
how many of those are first generation
Oh, yeah, really
that
good question.
started?
Yeah, so we have 10 advisors at the firm. Everybody has a niche, and my niche is the small business owner. So, and I don't have 3 dozen clients, a really small number, but personally. All of them are business owners. So all of them have built it themselves. And so that's my niche. They're great, right? It's a tough thing to do.
Yeah.
And we've got different stages of that at the firm. The people I'm working with, though, are at the latter stage where they're either they've already liquidated it, they've already sold it, or transferred it to the second generation, or they're working on that transfer to the second generation. Yeah, and a lot of what we do is focus on people who really want to offload and delegate, which is a key part of starting a business. So if you're at the beginning stage and you want to start a business, you got to know what you know, and you got to know what you don't know, and you want to offload what you don't know, and then just feel comfortable holding those people accountable, so that you're confident in the decisions being made. That would be one of the best pieces of advice I can give people is when you're starting a business, you really have to do everything yourself. But as soon as you don't have to, you probably should stop doing it to offload it to somebody else, and that's a leap. It's like you're swinging on a trapeze at the circus, and you've been making money and you're a little bit profitable and you're comfortable on this one, but you can't get anything done until you leap off of this trapeze onto the next one, and it's terrifying. But you just got to be confident that you're going to hit it.
Yeah.
And you're not going to miss.
Well, and I would also say to new people, yes, it's terrifying to jump to that next one, but there's a net.
Yeah.
Right. It's. I think we get all these horror stories about how easy it is to fail in business, and you think, you listen to all these podcasts and these really successful people, and what do they always start with? I failed 17 times. What's the old Colonel Sanders story? I heard 1,001 no's before he sold his chicken recipe at 62.
Yeah, it was in the 60s, right.
But there's a negative part of that that's almost doing people a disservice. Like, it's not easy to start a business. It's simple. And if you do the thing that you're good at and you do it well, there's a lot of safety nets. Like you make one little mistake, you're not going to fail. But I feel like that's kind of the message that a lot of people give out there is, oh, you've got to fail first and you've got to go through the hard times. I mean, really, you don't. Yeah. If you just listened to the people around you and got good advisors, and you're going to make mistakes and you're going to have to learn, but it's not that complex, and so there is a safety net to a lot of that stuff.
Absolutely. Join a group, right? Join one of the business owners groups here in town. There are a number of them. They're great, and you'll learn a lot. Yeah. And if they're truly a spirit of abundance, then they're going to give you some of their best ideas and help you grow, and just by affiliation, you will, and you'll help them grow. that can be one of the best pieces of advice I could ever give anybody.
I love that.
For years, I did the Denver Chamber, and they had a number of different business development teams there, and they had a set of classes that they would give up-and-coming business owners. Now, I never took one of those classes, but I was definitely a part of many of these groups from the Denver Chamber that they had back then that I'm sure have all changed now. I'm sure it's totally different. I'm sure, we're on the south side of Denver, the South Metro and other chambers will have similar things, I'm sure. But yeah, I think that's one of the most simple, straightforward things to do. And there are a number of other groups where you can pay, private dues and get that. I learn from other business owners.
I love that.
Yeah, it's just smart.
Have a mentor or have somebody that's helping you along the way, which the cool thing about business owners is they love to help. I remember when I was starting, I used to think, man, why would these people ever talk to me? I'm of no value to them. I'm just sucking their time.
Right.
But it's like the most fun thing to do is once you've kind of figured out some stuff, it's help other people. And then just pay attention to who you're getting advice from.
Yeah.
There's so much now, like talking about social media and phones. How many people do we have on social media that are, have 1 million followers on Instagram about starting a business? They just happen to be good at Instagram. They're actually terrible business owners. They've never started a business. They've never built $1 million or a $10 million company.
Right.
But they're out there giving advice purely because they're good at Instagram. And so to people starting, make sure that you're taking advice from somebody that's done what you want to do.
Yeah, that's really good
advice. Not just 1 million thumbs up on a social media platform. Like, go find somebody that's built 1 million or a 10 or 100 or $50 million business, and then just believe in yourself and go.
I don't know what business a young person might want to be in, but there's probably an association, a trade association.
Yeah.
So in mine, it was the Financial Planning Association, and that's one of the first things I did was join that when we built this company, and it was great. There were definitely some old farts in there, and one or two of them became my mentor.
Yeah.
And even though in a scarcity mindset they would be competitors of ours, they didn't view it that way. They knew I was in no way as good as they were. They were 50 years in the industry, and I was a rookie, right? So I was no threat to them. And they took one or two of them took me under their wings, and everybody grew. And they've since retired, and our community is still going, right? We got better service. We moved along farther.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know that I would follow really anybody on social unless I could meet them in person.
Yeah.
Right, and know if they're for real. Then that's when I would know that I can trust their advice.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, and you've mentioned something that is important to me, and I think a lot of people miss it, is abundant mindset.
Yeah.
Is just knowing that there's plenty for everybody, and I don't know, it just makes it way more fun. Like, there's always going to be those people that are afraid that the sky is going to fall, and scarcity, and if there's only, the pie is only so big. Like, the pie is infinite. And making sure that people believe in that.
Yeah.
Like, abundance is everywhere.
This is an amazing time to be alive.
Yeah.
The boomers are retiring like crazy, and the next generation is huge. It's even bigger. More people, and this country has never been more wealthy, and technology is dramatically increasing productivity. And yeah, there's a lot of things to be worried about, but worrying doesn't do anything but cause you twice the pain. Focus on what's going on, right? And it's an amazing time. All sorts of things are changing from the older generation to the younger generation. All sorts of things are in flux, and so many things that are going on are so ineffective that the next generation can make that much more productive.
Yeah.
There's huge opportunities. Never been better.
Yeah.
Really cool.
I mean, I even catch myself sometimes with the younger generation. So, like, my business partner in this is 11 years younger than me.
Yeah.
And I will catch myself occasionally looking at some of the younger people. I'm like, man, they're way further along than I was at that time.
Age, right?
And then I just realize, wait, that's the point.
Yeah.
We want them to be further along than we are. But I mean, it's hard sometimes to be like, oh man, I wish I would have known that when I was 31. And I'm like, nah, like, I knew what I knew, and I can pass along any experiences and lessons that I have learned.
Yeah, what an experience. Yeah, it was a hard one for me. So it was hard for me to make the leap to becoming a mentor, and just going hog wild with the next generation at
Yeah.
A&I. So we had trouble. We brought in one person at a time, out of college or maybe a few years experience, and would try to train them up, and it would never work. And it's because this firm is pretty old, and now we're not, right? I went hog wild and brought in 3 of them at the same time. And so now there's a cohort of young people, and they're all friends. They get along great. They're helping each other out. They speak each other's language. They are probably social friends, I would imagine, outside of work, so that they can keep their energy going. They've all got a lot to learn, right? Because a lot of what we do is not taught in any school, and it's a brainiac job that I'm in. So there's so much to learn. They really needed each other, so we just committed to it and did that. And now this little firm, and I told you we only had 16 people. We have people in our 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. We cover 6 generations, 6 decades of people working in this little company. It's crazy. It's amazing.
Yeah.
The diverse opinions you get. And when we have a little coaching group, we've got 4 different generations represented on each of our little 4-person coaching groups. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's like, what a diverse set of opinions. And man, like you said, pushing that next generation ahead, they come out of there and they're like, this is the coolest thing.
Yeah.
Right? All 3 of you look at the world totally different from each other, and I can learn from all of you, and it's absolutely true. And then we learn from them.
Yep.
And that's what I'm hearing from the old people too. They love it. They're like, wow, this is exciting. Somebody's actually interested in this stuff anymore. Here I am looking at, less years ahead of me than there are behind me, but somebody's actually looking the opposite way, and they're excited about it.
That's
pretty cool.
Yeah, that shows,
it's fun.
And that's a huge testament to culture, like your culture that you created, to have the older generations be excited about the younger. That's a huge testament to what you've built here.
Thanks, man. Well, it's not easy, right? We've had a lot of characters come through these doors over the years. Right?
Yeah.
We've been doing this. The firm was founded in '86, so that's coming up on 40 years that we've been around, and that's hard.
Yeah.
Right. So you hang around for that long, and we're the 2nd generation. And the 3rd generation is really hard to build, and the 4th generation is hard to build. So it's not a matter of we have a great culture because we know what we're doing. We have a great culture because we've made a lot of mistakes along the way.
Yeah, but learn from them.
Well,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, we're always going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they're not that bad.
No, man.
They're
You called it the net.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the net, right? You leap from the trapeze to the trapeze, and you're still safe.
Yeah. Was there a point in time in your career as a business owner where you recognize that you've made a shift mentally from the state of, I'm a new business owner and my goal is to become a leader, good business owner, that type of thing? Because for me, at least, what I found is that I spent a lot of years thinking like, okay, I just want to be over there. I just want to be over there. I just want to be over there. And then one day you kind of realize, wait, I've been over here for a while. I just didn't realize it up here. I kind of am the business owner. I am the leader. Like, I have made it. I mean, does that resonate with you? Like, did you go through a stage where you were kind of being that leader, but your mindset was still back here?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. With us, we had, I think 2008 is a great example. It was a seminal moment in your personal journey because the whole industry you were in just fell apart. And a lot of people in Denver struggled when the mortgage industry just blew up. In our firm, we had a completely different situation, but the market blew up, right? So our firm was growing at a really good clip and continued to grow afterwards with a whole lot of emotion. And it was a seminal moment for us because we changed our direction from just growth to quality. And we changed from the kind of a rainmaker where I'm going to go do everything. I'm going to find another rainmaker to do everything with me, and into processes and systems and repeatable and simple mindset where we said, okay, we're going to spend our energies now on making something that can last. And that was a huge, hard thing to do, right?
What caused you to make that decision? I mean, was there pressure or stress in one part, or did you just recognize this is where we want to go in the future?
Well, yeah, a lot of pressure, a lot of stress. I mean, you can only do so much. You know, you can't be the hero, except maybe in your own mind, right? Forever. You're gonna need to take a vacation. You're gonna need to do things other than that. Our kids were going, I don't know what the ages they were back then, but they were young, and we had 3 of them still at home. We completed the buyout of this firm January 1, 2009.
Oh, wow.
So it was an opportunity for me to take it the direction I wanted to do it. Yeah, it was great. I bought at the bottom.
Yeah.
No pressure there.
Yeah.
Payroll and credit cards. I mean, you know, we've been through some hard times, and it was an awesome opportunity to really kind of do a value check and what really matters to us. And it's not a financial value. It's aligning the financials with the values, right? It's not just pursuing money as an end, but making the money help us get to our goals and get us further on the journey and more rewarding on the journey. And money invested in alignment with your goals, your values, your relationships, that's a good thing for the world, man.
Yeah.
That's a really good thing for the world. And so we had to change some of the people who were here, and some left of their own accord, and some we had to help leave, and we had to bring in the right people that felt that as well. And I've never looked back.
That's awesome.
Right. And so, yeah, I mean, becoming a business owner is more, it's more a personal journey, honestly, than it is, you know, getting an MBA and understanding a balance sheet and a profit and loss and discounted cash flow for what next endeavor is going to deliver me the highest financial return. That's kind of table stakes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna own the business, if you're gonna be a corporate executive, you know, that's pretty cool stuff. But if you're the one who's, you know, opening and shutting the doors, and yeah, there's a lot there, man.
Yep.
There's a lot there. That's your life's work.
Yeah, it takes some time to find your identity as a business owner. What do you love and what's important to you, and inject that into the business.
Yeah.
And let it become some of you.
You know, so many stories, right? I work with these small number of clients, right? And everyone's a business owner, so they all got different stories. But, you know, some of them are, you know, selling the second generation, and the second generation's in their 60s. Like that's an owner who never quit, right? But he finally figured out, well, it's probably about time.
Yeah.
Right? You know, still out there on the loading dock. And then others who died on the job really young. And so the second generation had to come in and save the business before they were ready, right? And that's you know, and then all sorts of journeys in between, right? All sorts of my friends go through this. You know, they're going through it now at different stages. So yeah, there's just a different there's a different unique story for every single person. There's no right answer for anybody. We're helping a client right now who has built this wonderful business and franchised it and put it across the country, and now is like, okay, so the money's not a problem anymore. The problem now is you know, what am I going to do? Who's going to take it over? And so the very young second generation kid who did some work before deciding to finally join Pop's business is coming in. And we've at least got the toolkit to help them ask the tough questions of each other and make sure that they're going to work out whatever father-son issues and all of the financial issues and trust issues, and just quite frankly the steep learning curve ahead of that next generation to be able to handle this business. And also setting realistic expectations for the second generation, because the second generation is coming in and saying, hey, I learned all this cool stuff, and you know, we can change everything. We'll put it all in different set of computer systems and, you know, projects. And Dad's like, well, you know, in the real world, it's just a computer screen. And the work's done out here, and, you know, I don't need that nonsense. I got it all here.
Yeah.
And probably both are wrong.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But working
3 sides to every
week,
story, right?
Yeah, working on 100 hours a week is not the answer either.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so it's just different for everybody, right? I mean, I don't know.
I'm with you. Well, and you bring up something important, I think, especially for new business owners or even people that have been around forever, is don't forget why you started the business. You
Right.
started it primarily for freedom,
Yeah.
both financial and time freedom,
Yeah.
or just because you're a terrible employee.
Yeah.
You know, combination of all
You
of
had to.
those.
Yeah.
But
That's funny.
you know, don't forget to have fun with it, and don't forget to spend your money, and don't forget to take your time off. Like,
Right.
you know, you probably see it just as much, but I mean, we watch some of these businesses where the first generation, you know, guy or girl, whatever, is still in the business every day, 6 days a week,
Yeah.
and they're actually choking the business out. They're keeping it from
That
growing.
can be really hard, yeah.
Because all of their identity is wrapped up in the business. And so
Right.
now they've created, you know, millions and millions of dollars. I mean, some of these companies are selling for 50, 100 million easily now. And you still got the guy going to work
Right.
and saying, well, you know, soon we'll go travel the world. You know,
Right.
soon is now.
No.
And I think it's so easy to get trapped up and forget that now, oftentimes now is where we wanted to be.
Yeah.
But if we're not aware enough, we're constantly in a state of the old habit of one day.
Right.
But we forget to look up, and today is actually one day. And so when you going back to like the abundance mindset, when you're going out and having fun and experiences and spending your money, you know, in smart ways and spreading that wealth around,
Right.
the business will probably actually grow more.
Well, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
For sure it will. You'll be free to act on all the things that you wanted to act on forever. And you're going to find new ways to grow it, or find new ways to be yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the first things we do, we have for a business owner exiting, we have what I call a 5.5-step process. But the first step, the first set of questions is really about the values and who you are and the history, right? Because often when we start with people saying, what are your goals? They don't really, I mean, they come back with an answer because they're used to that question, but we don't really know.
Yeah.
Right? If you honestly told me what my goals are right now, my goal would be like, I got to get this kid graduated. Like, he's got to graduate. Like, that's honestly number one. You know, my mom, I got to make sure, you know, that the health is all set up in case, you know, she has more health issues. You know, and like, you know, just these are so short term.
Yeah.
Right? But you're often, as a business owner, focused on such small things. Like, I've got to replace the new employee. I got to make sure these processes are fixed. I got to make sure the taxes are paid. I got to make sure that the systems are in, you know, all that. They're also sure. Those are easy goals to answer. But if you start with the history, then you can get closer to what the values are, and then you can help the business owner come up with and say, actually, you know, what I really want to do is nothing like what I've been telling people I want to do. And then the second and third, you know, steps, like, are we going inside? Are we going outside? Are we, you know, how much is this worth? What happens if I do die on the job? Yeah. Right? Like you said, now is the only time we have. It comes easier. So just having a process, I think, has made a big impact for a lot of these business owners. And when we do that, we do it with me, and I do it for free as part of the management fee. But a lot of people would benefit by going ahead and hiring an expert, even if they don't do the financial commitment with the financial advisor who knows what he's doing. Because having that outside expert makes all the difference in the world. Right? It's like having a therapist, but it's not. You know, you're not shut off at 50 minutes and like traumatized because you're talking about stuff that, you know, happened to you decades ago and it still bugs you, right? It's like having a little bit of insight into yourself that can really propel you forward into what means the most to you.
I love that. I think people are afraid to actually say their goals for the most part.
If you know them, it's hard to say.
Yeah. Or their real desires of, you know, that you limit yourself before you ever even say it. If somebody wants to go live in Italy, you know, for 3 years, it's not that hard, but we think that it's, oh man, I could never go live in Italy for 3 years. Here's the 1,000 reasons why. So before you know it, the goal that they had or the dream they had is like, well, you know, maybe we'll go to Italy for a week.
Yeah, you lose it, right?
And you're unfulfilled and stressed. And
yeah, you lose it.
Yeah.
You totally lose it. And they change. And goals are hard too because you'll often hit them. So I don't know if you ever made a goals book or anything like that. I actually have a handful of goals sitting on my desk in a frame, and I'm looking at them, and I'm like, man, that one, I'm going to succeed when he graduates.
Yeah.
Right? Like I did that. Like I got these kids off to a great start. Now it's like, check. Do I feel that much more fulfilled? Kind of not, actually. Yeah. Now it's like I've got to fill that up. I feel more empty when I feel, when I hit a goal. When we hit a certain revenue here at A&I or got a certain, size of assets and a certain number of staff, it wasn't like that was the end.
Yeah.
I needed something else. Our next ones, from a goal standpoint, are hard to quantify because we've hit so many of them already, and they weren't. It wasn't like it was a bad thing, but it wasn't what we were really hoping they would be beforehand. And so now we're thinking, well, what is the next step? What is the next meaningful challenge?
Yeah.
Maybe that's just a stage. Talk to me on Monday. Maybe I'll feel different.
Yeah.
Right?
What a great. So you bring up a really important point. Like, it's okay to change as a business owner. It's okay to say, we're going this way and we're going towards this. And if you wake up and for a couple weeks or a month, you're like, that just doesn't feel good anymore. Let's go over here.
Yeah.
Cool, go over there.
Sure.
I think people are so caught up in, no, I set that goal and I got to work towards it and it's going to take me 10 years. And then when you get to it, you're not really that happy anyway. So
right.
It's okay to pivot and then just make sure you're happy day to day.
Yeah.
Find a way to be happy doing what you're doing. Find a way to be happy when you're under $1 million, and going for 10.
Yeah.
Find a way to be happy with your 2 employees when you want 20, and the rest of it will come faster.
Yeah, for sure. 2 employees sounds really good, actually.
Yeah, right? Yeah, how many times, when you first start out, I remember when I was like, oh man, I can't wait to get to like 10 employees.
Right, yeah.
Now, we're like 22 and this company is 23 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, 3 sounds great
it
some
easy.
days. Yeah.
Yeah, right? It was easier then.
Yeah.
Oh man, what am I doing?
Yeah, so find the way to be fulfilled in the day to day and let the rest of it kind of take care of itself.
Yeah, for sure. Being a dad with a business is it's a balancing act, but you're never in balance, right? You're always overcommitted, and I look back at it and just want to be more kind to myself and say, okay, cut myself some slack, because now the business is more or less taking care of itself. Now the kids are more or less taking care of themselves. Way back then, neither could do it, right? And I had to do everything, and it was so hard to do everything and be really, to be there. So when we started, there was an event I had to do every year on my oldest daughter's birthday, and I couldn't miss it. For whatever reason, it was always that case. And to this day, she still feels resentful that I wasn't there on the actual day of the birthday, right? And that is looking back, it's a choice we made, and it's a tough one, right? It's a tough one. But I'm way more kind on myself now than I was back then. She's still alive. She's still okay. We still had a family party. We still had we still had everything. Like, there's no real shortcoming there. Like, it's not like it really traumatized her. But that's a common situation. Working evenings, worked a lot of evenings, missed out on a lot of things that I probably could have been a part of, but had to make a choice for the family. And I think, especially with the younger two, they had a really different experience because the business was a little bit further along than with the oldest child. It is important to just really cut yourself some slack, man. Like, it's okay. It's okay. Like, if it really does need to be done, then, they'll survive. You'll survive. Everybody will be there. It'll still work out. On the other hand, I also put aside later, was able to put a lot more of the business aside to be there for the kids and do some of the coaching of the activities and build a business around that schedule. So, so they really did have a different experience. And maybe I feel a little bit regret, and maybe I feel like, well, that hardship that the older one had is going to make that child a little bit more tough.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, you just cut yourself some slack. They know they love you.
So
you love them.
in that theme of cutting yourself slack, kind of, is there something that you did that you're proud of as a parent and a business owner? Like, and it could be the smallest thing, pancakes on Saturday, or I don't know, just, what's something that you did that you're really proud of as a dad and a business owner?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is coaching football for my kids, right? That was a big deal. Being there during those years was really, really important, for sure. Being there to teach them how to, ride the bike and swim and taking them to the mountains and doing things like that. These are all things that are really, really, memorable, important experiences that I'm so glad that I had.
That I'm guessing you don't have regret, because probably in some of those moments you're like, man, I really should do this work thing instead of go ski or whatever.
Yeah,
but
I'm sure I
you
lost
went
clients.
skiing.
Yeah.
But what I'm hearing is no regrets.
Not at all.
Around that. That's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. The other thing that we did was we attracted clients who have similar values. So it was a little easier to run a business where clients forgave you for, being there at the kids' event. Yeah, I mean, there's so many wonderful opportunities raising a kid. You don't have all these opportunities the rest of your life. It's such a limited window. It's a lot of work. Like, I think it's mostly worth it.
Yeah.
I think it's mostly worth it.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass sometimes, but we're in the 3-year-old phase now, and
such a cute age.
Very cute. Has a personality.
So hard.
Has lots of opinions.
Hard.
Is with you and on you 24/7.
So hard.
Wants to be around you. At the same time, hates you. All of those little cute things.
Yeah, because they're so angry.
Yeah. Everything's a big deal.
Everything. And right now,
you threw away the blueberries. I was going to eat that blueberry.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, exactly. And then 3 seconds later, it's
over.
Happy and good, and
they wear their emotions on their sleeves.
Yeah.
How are you balancing it between running a big company and?
I mean, I think I'm fortunate that we had kids later, so I went through my kind of hard entrepreneurial phase without a kid, and so my wife also owns a business.
Oh my goodness.
And her business is requiring a lot more of her attention right now, and so I'm in a fortunate spot where my business doesn't. And so I spend a lot of time with her. I mean, I just spent the last 2 weeks with her pretty much full time, and
sweet.
I'm doing half days right now so that my wife can work. Our nanny moved, and we haven't had time to find a new one. And,
that's hard.
But I think probably the most interesting lesson that's come out of it for me is the lesson of just being present. And frustration only comes like if I'm with her and I'm frustrated, it's because I think I wish I was doing something else.
Right.
But when I just sink in and be there and be like, cool, I'm not doing anything else, nor am I going to be able to. So let's just be fully here and be in it. And that's when we build cardboard forts and ride bikes and draw on chalk and on the sidewalk. And it's funny. I always say, like, the universe has a funny sense of humor, and I told people when we had her, I was like, the only thing I never want to be is kind of a stay-at-home dad. I have no desire to do that. That sounds terrible. And ironically enough, it's kind of half of what I have become. I took about 2 years off from the business. My wife's mom had brain cancer, and we were spending a lot of time in Florida. We had a 1-month-old.
Wow.
And so the joke was I kind of became a stay-at-home dad. And so be careful what you say you don't want, because a lot of times you're actually asking for it, from the universe, and so you get it.
Attracted anyway.
But I don't know. I'm just trying to look at it as cool. I'll just be here, and even the days that it's hard, I think about how is this going to impact her later.
Yeah.
And so
you never know.
Don't be selfish.
Yeah.
I brought her into this world, and so let's give her that full attention, just like I would a business or employees or anything like that. And there's hard days, but
right, man,
they always pass.
It works out. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, they turn out pretty good anyway.
Yeah.
In spite of.
They're pretty resilient from everything I've gathered, you know?
No, it's very true.
Yeah.
It's very true. Yeah, she'll always love you.
That's
you
awesome.
know, and she'll always know you love her. And that's pretty much what they get.
Yeah.
That's what they keep.
Yeah, we'll do our best to not pass on some of the not so good things that we got.
Yeah.
But I tell my wife all the time, I'm like, we're going to mess her up just as much as our parents messed us up. And that's just part of what she'll have to figure out in her own journey.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Overcoming those challenges will be her challenge.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing wrong with that. I'm sure she's doing great.
Yeah. She is a happy, cute, happy little girl.
That's sweet. Cool, man.
Awesome.